Shortcuts play a very important role in FreeCAD. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can create and use keyboard shortcut in FreeCAD to speed up your modeling workflow. So shortcut makes command much faster compared to clicking icon everywhere. FreeCAD comes with some built-in global shortcuts. For example, let me first of all open, or maybe I can quickly create a body. Now let's say I want to go in wireframe view. So what I can do here is I can press V, then release it, then 3. Now here we can see that we are now in wireframe mode. Similarly, for shaded view, if you press V and release V, press 6 and release 6, you can see that now we are in shaded view. Similarly, if I press 0, then you will see that we are in isometric view. And especially in case of FreeCAD, software play even a bigger role, or I would say there is a proper guideline document published by FreeCAD, like how one can create it. And let me quickly show you how this document looks. So there is ton of documentation available from FreeCAD, which you can find in wiki.freecad.com. And then of course, you will see this link, or I will be providing you this link in the description of this video. From there also you can visit this site. Now let's have a look at here. Okay. And I would like to start with global guideline. Once you understand this global guideline, you will come to know how keyboard shortcuts work in FreeCAD and how we can create better one. So the proposed guideline says use standard shortcuts for standard command. For example, new, open, save, undo. I think for these commands you do not even require to create shortcut. You will see that their shortcuts are already created, and those are standard shortcuts, which of course you can also find below the list. Now let me again go back and let's see the point number 2, which is shortcut using Ctrl key should be reserved for global commands. So what does that mean? What do you mean by global command? So global command is nothing but actions that work everywhere. For example, these are global commands. I mean, you will see new in all the workbenches, or open, or save. So for these kind of commands, I think we should use Ctrl key. So again, I'm going to give you an example of all these up command. So for example, for new, the shortcut is Ctrl plus N. For open, Ctrl O. For save, Ctrl S. For undo and redo, again Ctrl Z or Ctrl Y. And these shortcuts are not only applicable for this software, but for almost all the software, especially if you are in Windows. Now let's talk about what it says for function key. So from F1 to F12 again should be reserved for global command. So the function keys are also, or it says should be. So it really means that you should not use function key to create shortcut. Then it talks about the shift key. So shift key again can't be used as a shortcut. It is more of opposite or complementary action. So for example, let's talk about undo or redo. Okay, so for undo or redo, we do Ctrl Z and Ctrl Y. So let's say you press Ctrl and Z. However, if you press like Shift plus Ctrl and Z, it's going to do just opposite of that. So Ctrl plus Z was undo. If you press Ctrl Shift and Z, it will do redo. So it is more of, I would say, opposite or complementary action. Okay, I'm also thinking of what could be the better example. For example, if you press E, which was for extrude, then if you press Shift plus E, it could mean reverse extrude. So shift is meant to act as a modifier for opposite behavior, not as a totally new shortcut. Okay, so I hope now you understand the utility of shift key. Then let's talk about shortcuts using alt key. So again, it says that shortcut using alt key should be avoided, as alt key is already used by operating system. For example, if we press alt plus tab on Windows or alt plus F4 on Windows, so it is more of Microsoft Windows shortcut. Okay, so that is why FreeCAD is also asking us to avoid alt key to create shortcut in FreeCAD, as it may cause conflict or unexpected behavior. It is best to not assign shortcut with alt. Now let's talk about the next here. It says that shortcut using only alpha key, single or combo without modifier should be reserved to workbench or local command. Now this one is interesting, and then I would say you will love it, because this is how you can create, or we're going to create shortcuts inside any workbench. So when it says only alpha key, it means like the plain letter like A, B, C, whenever it pressed alone without control or shift or alt. And it is good. Why I am saying this? Because if you see here back in FreeCAD, you can see that if I press X and then S, it's going to enable vertex selection. Or for example, if I see here, all these single alpha key shortcuts, so you can see. So if I press 5 here, you will see the view got changed. Okay. So these kind of shortcuts are good, or should be created inside your workbench. Okay. And we for sure going to see that how one can create. But this guideline, I would say, is very important to understand. So that is why I simply didn't jump into creating shortcut, but I am explaining you because this is very important. So once you understand this guideline, I think you will be able to create better shortcut. Now, one more thing, you will see that there are already, single alpha key are defined inside FreeCAD. So as I was pressing 0, 1, 2, you might have seen that all these are defined already by FreeCAD. Maybe what you can do, then you can create combination shortcut. For example, the way we saw here in case of vertex selection. So if I press X and then S, here now we will be able to, only select vertex whenever you are in selection mode. And here you can see actually when I press X and S, the vertex selection got enabled. Now let me press C and S. So C, and then I'm gonna release C button, and then I'm gonna press S. And the good thing about FreeCAD, it's like there is nothing like you have pressed C and then you immediately need to press S. You can take your sweet time and then can press S. Okay, so now let's move on toward next guideline, which says that shortcut using num key without modifiers should be avoided. So what does this mean? This means that if you press num key like plain number 1, 2, 3 without control, shift or alt. So first of all, let's understand num key. Num key is again just like alpha key. Instead of ABC, you are pressing 1, 2, 3, which is kind of already defined, or I would say reserved here by this different type of view. So this key also is asked by FreeCAD to avoid, as if you assign these shortcuts, FreeCAD may confuse them with numeric input. So when you are typing dimension or value in dialog, you may face problems, especially when let's say you are working with dimension. But this should not be case actually, because here also you are inputting those numbers, right? But yes, just make sure that you are not inputting them outside. So here, let's say you want to make it 5, and let's say you have not selected this field. So if I press 5, you can see here, the view got changed, but in order to, change the length, you need to select it, and then you will see that the command executed as expected. And then of course we need to also avoid print screen and pause. And then the last one here is most used command should have shortcut, but not all command have a shortcut. Okay, so FreeCAD already have created so many shortcuts. And then here I would say there are further more instructions. For example, here it says E means keyboard key E, not the uppercase letter E or something else. It means that when you set a shortcut as E, you just press E. You do not need to press Shift plus E, and no such uppercase or lowercase required. Okay. Then a shortcut can be a sequence of keystrokes. We can define shortcuts like this: E and then U. So when you press E and then release E, then you're gonna press U and then release U. That could be shortcut for something. And then, as I said already, there is no such upper and lower case required. Now there is one more important thing that we should discuss, or I would say it is a kind of quirk. Like for example, while in a sketch we type K to start a measurement constraint, but change your mind and press the standalone hotkey E. to use equal constraint. Okay, FreeCAD will understand this shortcut as KE, which could be shortcut for something else. But let's say you really want to use standalone E to call this constraint equal, then you may require to press it twice so that the software will avoid that confusion, and then the actual shortcut that you wanted to use, which is E, will get activated. And then I would say you can further read more about here, which is going to give you even more better understanding. Another thing here, it says that shortcut can be a maximum of 4 character long. For example, here these are some standard shortcut, and then you can make the shortcut till the 4 characters. Okay, but here it is 5, so it is too long, and then it won't be considered as a shortcut. And then here you can see the list of shortcuts that FreeCAD already have. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go back in FreeCAD and let's define the shortcut. I know it was too long just to explain and go through the guideline, but I think it is worth it. Okay, so in order to create shortcut, let's go to tool, then customize, then we need to look for keyboard. Okay, and then here in keyboard you can see the shortcuts are already defined. Okay, now let me make it a little bit bigger. Now here you can see the first shortcut which is defined for export, which is Ctrl and E. Now let's say you want to define a new shortcut for this, so you can say exp. Okay, so here you can see I have defined 3 sequence of alpha character for this. Now I can hit here assign. Okay, now I just remove Ctrl and E for export, and then I kept exp for export, which is against global guideline, because it says that you need to use control or these kind of thing, but it's okay. Now if I press exp, you can see here the export shortcut up here. And let me actually go to, let's say, sketcher mode. Will this still work? Yes, it still work. So you can sometime avoid these guidelines also, and can create shortcuts like this. Now let me go back again in part design. So creating shortcut is that easy. That's why I took more time in global guideline, and it is very easy to create shortcut. So again, let me go tool, customize, and then here let's see some other document. So for print preview, here is no shortcut. Maybe let's define shortcut here. So I'm gonna say PP for print preview. Okay, now let me click assign, and it is that easy, guys, to assign shortcut. Now I'm gonna press PP, and there we go. So you can see print preview is there. Now let's try another guideline, or another constraint what we saw, which is like you cannot go beyond 5 character. So I'm gonna say here PRIN, and then as soon as I'm gonna hit here the 5th character, it will clear itself. So you can define or can go up to 4 character, as we saw in case of global guideline. So in this way, guys, you can create shortcut. If you think that you messed it up, you can always go back to default by pressing reset all, and then you will see that we changed the shortcut for export. It now revert back to the standard shortcut, which is Ctrl and E. So let's say you need to define a ton of shortcuts and you're going to use them for the first time. Maybe you can maintain an Excel sheet of your own custom shortcut so you don't forget them. Also, you may want to list down some of these shortcuts by yourself. And then here you might be seeing that there are limited amount of commands available for shortcut. For that, you can go here and can change the command, and then can create shortcuts for them. Okay, so that's all, guys, from my side in this video. I hope that you find this video helpful and informational. If you have got any doubt or questions related to shortcut, please do let me know in comment down below. Also, if you want to share your feedback or opinion, like, oh, this is the way I prefer to create shortcut, then please let everyone know here in this channel, such that others also can get benefited out of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I would consider you to subscribe to Engineering Pritam to follow us, not only the FreeCAD series, but there are so many other engineering topics that we cover in this channel. And we will see each other in one such another video. Till then, you take care and bye bye.